Well, let's get talking now. Our guest, of course, our regular guest in the house, Rio Oladende, business and public affairs analyst, joins us now live in the studio. Thank you for joining us. Happy New Year to you. Good to see you. You were here last year, and we made it.
I didn't see the car you promised me. What happened to the economy?
Well,
inflation.
Well, of course, you were here when we were talking about the prices of food, not only the prices of food.
Fuel.
We also talk about the fact that livestock, the prices of livestock has
fuel,
gone up. So
transportation.
You need to have up to like 300 to get a cow now, especially
chicken was 15,000 naira.
For 15,000.
I refused to buy.
Why?
I couldn't afford it.
Okay. So that's by the way. But we hope that
it's a critical thing
in 2023, as the government is set to sign the budget into law. Maybe, perhaps, some policies will have to accompany that, so that we can start addressing the issue of inflation.
Do you still believe in these rituals, these annual rituals of budget announcement, reading, signing, passing, and all of that?
Well, I think that's also part of government fiscal policy. You have to sign the budget. You have to budget. And you remember that the government just started, has reversed to the January to December cycle of budgeting and spending as well, which of course should be able to.
I've already spotted a big ditch that will cause a glitch at the end of the day. The executive, who knows how much they are expecting, made a provision. The National Assembly, in their own wisdom, as always, added to it. Are we not creating problems? How do we fund the excess? These are issues we've had to face over the years. And nobody seems to think they should put a stop to it. I'm the finance director, and I'm telling you, having worked with the marketing and sales people, that we're expecting this much income this year. And you, because you are the chairman, you said, no, you are spending more. I mean, these things, they beg common thinking. And I'm afraid it's not going to be any different from the previous years. I'm waiting to see what percentage of that budget is going for capital and what volume is going for recurrence. And then you will now understand why development and growth have eluded us a long time.
Well, I think it's a conversation for another day. But let's get into some of the, some of the trending stories and stories making the round now. This, of course, the first one talk about the February presidential election, how it will impact, on business landscape according to analysts. But let me get your own position, because between January last year and December 20, of course, we're expecting that the fourth quarter of 2022, report in terms of GDP should be out in January. But while we're waiting that, a report shows that the economy grew by 3.5% in the second quarter rather, and then of course 2.25% in the third quarter of last year. Now the election is here. That's the fear is that how will this impact on the growth of the economy further, with the fact that government's attention will be tilted towards election, as it were.
Now, I need to be taught how an economy contending with hyperinflation on all fronts, an economy with a weaker currency, an economy struggling to make it up to the dollar, we'll be talking of growth. What metrics were put to use to arrive at this? What parameters? I mean, you don't just say growth. What are how did you get to growth with those three dangerous points that I just given you? Our naira is weaker. Now it costs so much to buy so little. The same thing with forex. The exchange rate is not in our favor. You and I know this. And of course, it costs a lot more. We have hyperinflation, not just inflation. Imagine that the whole of last week, my outing here was my last out on the street. Why? I bought 250 naira per liter fuel. I bought 40 liters for 10,000 naira. And before you could say Jack Robinson, it was going down. And I asked myself, how do I augment this fuel? How to leave my car? Look around and see people just managing to exist. Managing, not living now, to survive. When people say economy, what comes to my mind is the pocket of the average man on the street. What is his purchasing capability and capacity? How is he able to feed himself, feed his family? Now, people are going to start paying school fees. You understand how this is going to be? And January is always a very long month. This will be longer than any other January because of what I've just told you now. We should stop looking at the economy from the figures and statistics. We should look at it
I think
from the human angle. Managing a nation or an economy is about people. Without people, there will be no economy. There will be no nation.
These figures are just computation of the general output of goods and services over a given time.
I understand these things, but I'm saying that
another conversation.
I'm saying that they are not backed with any empirical evidence based on what we are feeling, what we are facing on the streets.
I think that's another conversation entirely. How that reflects in the pocket of Nigerian, and of course how it will impact on the general well-being is another conversation. Actually, yes.
Election periods were robust periods.
Right.
When there were a lot of contracts, making vests, t-shirts, calendars, and all manner of dash-offs and giveaways. This time around, we've seen very little of those things because even the people contesting, I don't think they are as loaded as some of us were made to believe. They are also cash-strapped. And don't forget the policy of the government that borders on how much they could withdraw, which is coming on anywhere from now. So whoever is coming in to rule Nigeria is either going to be an undertaker or a revivalist. If they get it right, they will revive the country. When I mean the country, not just the economy now, because our problems go beyond the economy. The security issue is there. And when we say economy, so many subsects come under economy. And then we can't continue buying fuel at this price. Something has to be done. We know why we are here anyway, because we have no functional refinery. I told you before of a man that had gari and a faulty cooking stove, and the family wanted to eat eba. So he had to ship his gari to a neighbor who could make hot water for him. Definitely the eba quantity that we will get will be a lot smaller. And if he's going to pay cash, he will pay more. Why didn't he get a cooking stove for crying out loud? That's the general situation. Giving you at the base level. And now we are waiting for Dangote refinery. For as long as we are waiting on that, we continue to suffer. And let me tell you, he is a private businessman, and we cannot dictate to him the way to go.
How to run
so the elections will come and go. People will still come out and vote anyway.
Right.
Because now there's a high level of awareness.
Before we move to the next conversation, are you ruling out spending totally? Because you said that even the campaigners or these candidates are cash strapped. Now it looks like that. But are you really now spending? Because you can't do without, you can't run a campaign very well, successfully without spending.
There's a party whose slogan, one of their bylines is, "We don't give shishi." You remember that?
Well, does it mean that they won't spend?
No, I'm not saying they will not spend. That tells you the mindset reigning and ruling the party.
Right.
Okay? But for others, they are now making use of the social media more than traditional media because it's going to cost them money. All the appearances you see on private television stations, they got to pay for them. Some of them are being clever by massively relying on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So to that extent, the spending pattern is not going to be as huge as we projected.
And that's, of course, we should expect that if the spending pattern reduces, it means that we're not going to have more money in the economy, and then perhaps inflation should go down in the next,
If it does not make any difference, if the economy, if there were to have been huge spending, we could experience inflation.
Okay.
So when we inject funds to the economy, we increase activities, we increase business activities, commercial activities, and there will be more of buying and selling.
So don't expect a change.
There may not be any change.
Let's look at the next one, which talk about the fact that external reserves falling from 40 billion US dollars to around 36 or 37. So at the moment, according to a report, that the figure fell by $3.43 billion in 2022 alone. Now, how do you comment?
When you say it's like you have a savings,
right,
a given amount, if you don't tamper with it by taking out of it, it will remain constant. No bank will charge you any fee on a fixed sum. So it must have the government of the day must have in its own wisdom taken out of it. So when we say reduced by who? By what magic? But because it was expended. And when it was expended, there was no additional fund. If more money were to have been added, maybe more than what was taken out, it would have gone up. I mean, we shouldn't make a song and a dance of that.
CBN said the decline happened because the economy or the country was not exporting enough crude oil, and that's why we are experiencing
I refuse to understand that theorem. You have a given sum. This is a cup now. You have something kept in here.
Right.
If nobody touches it, it remains constant. It's not water that will dry. No, we're talking of. You know what I'm saying now?
Right.
Well, they should look for a better reason. I can understand the need to expend money. It's not about saving and saving.
Right.
Money has to be spent. No doubt about that.
Right.
But don't now come and give us a cock and bull story. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, if you're not exporting, right, that means you're not bringing in more money. Then what you have should remain constant. Or who is charging us interest anyway, or other charges?
Let's look at the next story. Few queues may persist at major marketers' outlets, and then of course, according to the position here now, or the story. However, it's explaining that you have different prices, pump price in different filling stations. You have those for independent marketers, you have the oil major marketers, and you have the NNPC. NNPC is selling at 179 naira. Major marketers, and of course independent at 200.
300.
So how do we reconcile this disparity? It seems that this has created a confusion, and that's why you find, even according to the major oil marketers, the confession is that people try to find alternative to go to where it is cheaper.
It is not true that you walk into stations selling at 250. The one I bought that day, I had to join a queue. It's not as easy as that. Though at places where they are selling for 180, 179, you have a very long queue, which for me is a great concern. Human lives, man hours were being wasted instead of being utilized for something more productive and result-oriented. So if they are saying this, I think the reason basically is because of the source of getting the fuel. Yeah, it's the source. I mean, you don't buy at 150 and sell at 140. Those who are selling at 180 and 179, they are getting it cheaper than those who are selling at 250. And that's the reality. I'm not going to blame them. They cannot buy you cannot buy and sell at a lower price. They have bills to pay. They have staff salary to pay. They must maintain their facilities as well, and they also must make profit. Otherwise, why are they in the business? So the problem now basically is the supply chain system. It must be reviewed. If NNPC is the only one importing fuel, they need to do a lot more volume than they were doing, whereby they can supply to virtually everyone. And in any case, the problem now,
the group at the disadvantage end now, it looks like the Independent Oil Marketers Association, because they are the one, getting it at a high price, and selling it at a higher price at about 200 naira per liter.
250. Don't say 200.
Okay. Because that's the report here.
No, but it's 250. I bought it for 250, not once, not twice, more than 4 times.
So going into the new year, of course, this is the first, the first working day of the year.
Submission there is evil and wicked and non-patriotic. Now, where are the people supplying them buying from? It's not the same global market where NNPC is buying from and is able to make it available to major marketers and their own stations to sell at 179, 180. Why the disparity? Nobody is saying they should not make profit. But what they are doing now is profiteering. It's an economic crime. If it was taken
So
to that
who do we
extent.
blame now? Is it the NNPC
No,
that is the
I won't
sole
blame-
importer
I won't
of
blame-
this particular
I will blame
commodity?
the federal government for not fulfilling the promise made at Chatham House that a refinery will be built every year, which by now, if that were to have been done, we will have had 7 refineries. I'm not talking of the large size, humongous capacity refineries. I'm talking of modular refineries that can be set up within 3, 6, 9 months, max 1 year, and they are functional. We thought there would be regional refineries that will be attending to the needs of regions. That way, they will have boosted the economy, create employment, and give rise to activities within the petrochemical industry. But what happened? No refinery has been built. And that's one of my problem area with the president. Nobody told me. I didn't watch it. I was live when he said it. And we were clapping. We believed him. We trusted him. And unfortunately, he is a petroleum minister. And he's not talking to us about these things.
Well, I think those are the issue on table. We hope that perhaps it's a conversation that we'll continue to visit and revisit again over and over. Let's move to the next one now. Nigeria mobile subscriptions figure has grown to 218.6 million. Now, 2 things come to mind. Now, this, of course, has given us a clue of, in terms of population and in terms of numbers of people who make use of the mobiles or GSM, right? And 2, perhaps again, we should begin to also ask, this is a form of data provided.
It is,
so
yeah.
How we can explore the angle of data, over 218 subscription. Can we bring the conversation before the doorsteps of the NIMC that look at the numbers of people we have, and then the other side of course is the fact that we have more people captured.
I see it differently.
Okay.
Let's agree that the population is still 200 million. Now, the anomaly now comes out that we have 218.
And 18.
You know why? Some people have 4 lines.
All right.
Some 3, some 2. The average Nigerian has more than 1 line. Those of us with only 1 line, we are very, very few and negligible. We will find out why. There will be times you will be trying to reach people, and then that particular network will be having downtime.
Poor signal.
Downtime, poor signal. So we have to now shift to the second line. But some of us insisted, if I'm not going to get you with this number, so be it. So you don't have to see it now as a merit. So that figure is not going to serve any useful economic policy formulation. Get that? Because it's a result of the failure of the telecom system. I don't know about any other place, but I can tell you that in India, my Bharti Airtel line, never for once, you dial and it goes. I don't know the magic. So the same Airtel here is not delivering the same value. So the NCC has to do a lot more. When they say they are regulating, what are you regulating? They need to get into this thing at a better level and understand what are the challenges. We know about the issue of power supply, but virtually all the stations, the transmitter,
not too long ago that the federal government approves, the tax increase or increase in the cost of services as well for calls, data, and SMEs as well.
The consequence of that is that the people are now paying more. Yeah, in the situation where we say that there is hyperinflation, that's another poisoned chalice for the people.
Without efficient services.
The efficiency is not there, and we are being made to pay more. The same thing goes on in the power sector. The discos have consistently and progressively been increasing their tariffs, whereas in most places they still pay for darkness instead of electricity. So you see, these are issues that you shouldn't take an arm and a leg before they can be tackled, and then normalcy can return. There are places abroad where in a whole city or community they have free data link. In Dubai, landline to landline calls, they are free. You want to ask yourself, how is it possible? You can walk into a store, use their landline. They don't bother because it's free. What do we gain? What do we benefit here as Nigerians? Listen, we don't exist in isolation. It doesn't require any visit or any delegation. They can ask questions. How are you guys doing this thing? Understand it, come home, isolate our challenges, and provide solution using the experiences of those people who have gotten it right. And it will be a better day for all of us.
Indeed, it will be a better day for all of us. I think we need to leave it there. Thank you so much, Harry Oladende, Business and Public Affairs. Thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate your time.
I will be here to thank the incoming government when we have naira, when we have dollar chasing the naira.
Okay, so we hope so. We hope for a better administration.
Better administration.
Thank you so much for your time on the program.
My pleasure.
Yes, so watching Business Breakfast coming to you live from our studios here in Lagos. Well, we'll take a break now. When we return, of course, we turn our attention to other market now. This time, it will be the equities market and the outlook for 2023. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.